For this week's Wellbeing Wednesday, I want to spend a few minutes talking about the importance of communication and some common communication pitfalls, as this is a really important topic that we're seeing come up as individuals are returning to work. And as we're even seeing now more of some teams are back in the office, some are hybrid at home, and what does this communication look like? And knowing that that has a significant impact on overall well-being, and individuals, especially those that are still at home, feeling that need to be present, to be on, to make sure that people know that they're still working if they're not physically there. Now there are more and more teams where the folks that are in the office are popping back into each other's offices and having conversations, and people are unfortunately feeling left out, and that has a significant impact on coworker relations and just communication and being effective and efficient within the workplace. So we want to make sure that we are avoiding the pitfalls of not communicating across teams, or thinking that because we're having individual conversations that there isn't still a need to have the larger conversation so that everyone on the team is in the loop. Making sure that we're not keeping our employees and our teams in the dark, either about a business vision, about changes that are happening. Now that we're back in the office for many people, it doesn't mean that it's still not important to continue to over communicate, to make sure that we're sending things digitally as well as in-person conversations. And if it's a really important message, making sure that that's being conveyed in multiple avenues in multiple ways. Because with that stress and that transition back, or even just figuring out what this new normal looks like is anything but normal for many, things can get lost. Things can fall through the cracks. So we want to make sure that we're being transparent and not only just keeping the vision on the radar, but also being transparent if there are mistakes that have been made. Having that honest conversation about what has worked, what hasn't, doing the debriefs, doing the follow-ups, recognizing that if something didn't go well, let's talk through it and learn from it and communicate it from a problem-solving standpoint. That helps employees to feel more autonomy, more opportunity to be involved in the decision-making process, and to recognize that if mistakes are made, that it doesn't have to immediately mean that someone's being punished, but also that we can learn and grow from it and be heard. Making sure that we are clearly communicating expectations about roles. As we've been onboarding new employees, some have never met each other because we were all working from home for a period of time in many organizations. What are we doing to foster that conversation and that communication? Making sure that we're also allowing enough time for feedback and to have that feedback loop. How are people feeling? What is working well? What do we need to adjust and change? Systems that worked when we were at home may be different when we're here and in these hybrid situations. But also one of the biggest communication pitfalls that we see people falling into, especially leaders, is not asking for support, not asking for help, and feeling like we have to know all of the answers. It's okay to say that, I need to follow up on that, or being able to put it back on the team and say, well, what do you think? Having that opportunity to feel more engaged, more involved, that open communication is going to play a really, really key role in the entire team communicating well, feeling involved, and having that opportunity to see that increased overall well-being. Be well.